This meeting of the Blue Lake Public Safety Commission to order. This is Monday, January 5th, 2026 at 7 p.m. And the first thing we'll do is establish a quorum of the commission. We have Ted Hales here, Donald Shang, myself, Adeline Jones, Alex Ricca, and Lynn Glenn. So we have a quorum. Donald Shang has agreed to do the minutes for this evening, so let's move on to motion to approve agenda. Is there anyone, first of all, from the PSC that would like to change anything or move anything around? I purposely put Mike early on so that he can give his spiel and then be on his way, so that was the reasoning for that. Thank you for being here as well. If there's no comment from the commission, then I'll open up to public. Would anyone like to move anything around on the agenda? All right, we'll come back then for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Ted Hale, seconded by Lynn Glenn to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have an agenda. Item 3, public input. The public is invited to present petitions, make announcements, or provide other information to the commission that is relevant to the scope of authority of the City of Blue Lake that is not on the agenda. The commission may provide up to 15 minutes for this public input session. To assure that each individual presentation is heard, the commission may uniformly impose time limitations of 3 minutes to each individual presentation. The public will be given the opportunity to address items that are on the agenda at the time the commission takes up each specific agenda item. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to make a comment? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 4, approval of the minutes, Monday, December 1st, 2025. And thank you for doing those, Lynn. I had a chance to look at them, and they looked fine. Anyone else have any additions or corrections?
I had the same feeling. I thought the minutes were very well. Yeah.
Good job. All right, we need then a motion to approve the minutes.
I so move.
Okay, go ahead, and I'll second it.
Alex Ricca moves, seconded by Donald Shang to approve the minutes as delivered. Any further discussion? Any comment from public? Back to commission for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes. Item 5, report from city engineer on requirements, costs for installing speed humps, bumps, discussion, possible action. I asked Michael, our city engineer, to come to our meeting because there had been some discussion at our last meeting of particularly some speed humps or bumps on A Street in Blue Lake, but other areas of concern. And one of the things we weren't sure of was how much it was going to cost and what it entailed. So thank you for coming tonight.
Okay, I brought handouts for you guys. I didn't bring enough for everyone, but I could, if you guys want to share, and I can hand some out, or
Sure, we can share.
Share them out.
Yeah,
you guys three to share.
okay.
This is kind of a map of the area, and then I'll explain these handouts.
You and I can.
Okay,
Throw one
Share
in
that.
between us.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Throw
okay.
one in between us, that way
Yeah,
if we got
so, yeah,
any questions, we can.
You want to share with this
Mark and-
too?
there we go.
Okay, is this on?
This one as well.
Okay, Mike Fogut, city engineer. So yeah, I was asked to come here tonight to kind of present just kind of an overview of speed tables and what's required for those. So we do have some speed tables that we've already implemented in town, through FHWA, Federal Highways. You typically can get 7 to 8 mile an hour reduction in speeds with speed tables. Speed tables are preferred over speed bumps, mainly for noise reduction and also for emergency vehicles. They handle the speed tables much better.
And a speed table, sorry to interrupt you, because we're using
Oh,
the
yeah.
words bumps and humps here.
Yeah, so-
It's comparable to a hump then, I would assume?
No, well,
No.
speed tables like we have here on Greenwood, right?
Okay.
So basically it's about, or even right out here by the
So it's more gradual.
Yeah, so in essence, they're about 22 feet wide, like as you're traveling, about a 6-foot approach, a 10-foot table, right, it's flat. So they're about 4 inches, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, but 4 is probably ideal. And then, 6 inches ramping down, so that's a 22-foot width that they require for a speed table.
Okay, thank you.
You do have to be, the downsides are noise, even with the speed table, you still have noise, and you want to avoid driveways, and ideally, they're placed mid-block. Here in town, we don't necessarily have a mid-block by the school. We put speed tables by the school where the crosswalks were, again, for our conflict between our transfer truck route and the school, so that was why those are placed where they were. Cost, probably around 10 grand to install, a speed table. With I Street, the challenge will be that's our widest thoroughfare. So most of the corridors that we have in town, pretty much everywhere is 40 feet. I Street's approximately 60 feet, so it's a lot wider. So if we just, and not all of it is asphalt, there's kind of intermittent, a lot of gravel shoulders, parking lanes. So that would be the question, do you want to extend it kind of curb face to curb face where there is curbs? There's not necessarily sidewalk throughout I Street, it's intermittent. There is on the all the communities as part of this Vision Zero is like, how do you reduce traffic fatalities and accidents? How can you implement low cost methods or strategies to help, reduce speed, help implement more bike ped friendly roadways and streets. So there's a lot of work that's done. FHWA, Caltrans has reference material. There's a lot of different reference guides, but in that map, what that color represents is reported, in 2021, when we did, actually 22, when we did this report, we went through any accidents, either that were reported or even people that, we did a big outreach in the community to find out of, because not all accidents are reported. So kind of through that outreach, we identified where there had been accidents at intersections. So you see I Street doesn't have any. There's one on Blue Lake Boulevard near I Street, but nothing on I Street. The color intensity or the red color represents the most. So the one that we did address, there's like 4 at the intersection of Greenwood and Blue Lake Boulevard. We're still working with the county to get them to drop their speeds. We've talked to Tom Matson multiple times, at least through town. It should be 25 miles an hour, and he's indicated that's possible because of the density of driveways. Anyway, back to I Street and speed tables. Anyway, I just wanted that for point of reference.
Over what time period?
I'm trying to think what time period that we did. I think we went to like a 10-year period. We could look at what our recorded
About a 10-year.
period was. But you go through, it's called Switters. There's a couple where like police reports are uploaded to, so we went through that. Then we also, again, did outreach and street story where people try to at least upload or report any potential accidents that they are aware of. So and I kind of document where all these are in the appendices. So that's in this city as is. If you don't know where it is, Jenny, I can get you a copy. So I just wanted to at least highlight what has been documented. And again, this is like 3 years old now when we did that document. So if anyone knows of any additional accidents, let me know. Because this is kind of a working, living document. So yeah, back to the cost. Like I said, about potentially 10 grand, and you can't really place them in driveways, and you have to be cognizant, even in front of houses. So you really do have to do outreach with the people that may be directly impacted. I know with Arcata, they had to remove a speed table because of complaints from a resident. So just saying that's something that you have to be aware of when you do place speed tables.
Well, we had a resident at our last meeting on A Street, which is where the church is, where the Catholic church is, basically.
Yeah,
But he's further down, he's about two
Yeah.
blocks down.
Yeah.
His concern was, A is a little wide down there because it was the new subdivision, the schoolhouse subdivision.
Yeah.
And his concern was people speeding
on A Street?
on A Street. Yeah, he was here, Donnie Bednar.
Okay.
And made a public statement about that. So that was another impetus for having you come.
Okay.
Is to have that for something like that. I mean, obviously from this diagram, there have been no accidents on that particular street.
No, it's down by the post office. You know, other methodologies to look at is, and what we implemented here on the truck route is like, how do you narrow that down? So part of like I Street, and this was even identified like 30 years ago, when we were talking about planting street trees in town, was even thinking of I Street, you know, potentially even the shoulders planting street trees. But anyway, the idea is, the concept is when you have a really wide right-of-way, people feel comfortable and they'll speed. So yeah, speed tables are one way, and then the other way, how do you neck that down visually to slow people down? So it could be street trees, medians, the bulb outs, even the mini roundabouts. So there's a lot of different strategies to think about for, you know, is speeding the concern on some of these streets that have like a wider right-of-way?
I think the concern was coming off of the main street, coming down to the post office. People were going a little bit faster, and then they'd turn off into A and keep up that speed and treat it the same way.
And that is one of the concerns too, when you do put speed tables, is sometimes people then reroute because they don't want to encounter speed tables. Again, with the truck route and the school, that's why we put speed tables there, and by the park. So that was intentional why we did put speed tables by, you know, where there's a lot of kids and ped traffic, is
Right.
we were intentional about putting speed tables on those facilities.
You had said, when you were here at our last meeting last year, that there were requirements to document the need for, I think it was for stop signs. And were there other traffic control devices that had requirements?
That's primarily, you know, setting speed limits. You sometimes have to do the speed study.
So
And you want to
was-
set speed limits unless it's like where you're in a school zone, or as I mentioned, for Blue Lake Boulevard, there's a newer ruling I was talking to Tom Matson about, with the density of driveways, you potentially can lower a speed limit.
so
And
for-
again, I've asked Tom for several years now.
So for a stop sign, you have to do some kind of documentation.
Yeah,
How about for a sign, a speed limit sign, just stating what the speed limit is, not changing it, but this is what the speed limit is on this street?
no, the only thing you have to adhere to then is like, where's the sign placed, and that's the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices to MUTCD. And then that kind of dictates like the letter size and reflection of that,
Right,
the size of it, and where you place it and how high off has to be
Right.
so a certain height above the
right.
sidewalk.
Yeah, because I think people come and present to us the problem they have, and often it's speed.
Yeah.
Most often it's speed. So it's good to know what are the solutions to those problems.
Yeah,
So I think a stop sign is one, of course. Speed tables and speed bumps are another. A sign posting the speed limit would be another. I think a roundabout was what you were presenting last year.
yeah, like the mini
Meeting.
roundabout. So they have those in Arcade, and we did a couple demonstration ones here
Right,
to see what that impact is. But that, and again, you're doing a couple things. You're breaking up the sight distance, because there's a lot of research on that. If you neck that people aren't as comfortable speeding in, they kind of have to do a little chicane, if you will,
right.
to get around the traffic dot.
Are there other speed control devices that we could consider if people had a problem that they were bringing to us?
I mean, it's the chicanes, which is just where you kind of get people to kind of redirect their turning. So sometimes you'll see that we'll do a bulb out on one side and a bulb out on the other lane, so you kind of do a little S. There's the bulb outs, there's center divide where there's like a median. So there's different, again, all these strategies really do go around. How do you neck down that so people don't feel comfortable driving faster? Because when it's wide open, people just will feel safe on their speeds.
And then also coming off of a street where they can go faster, coming onto a side street.
Yeah.
So in that situation, what would
Well, potentially you gotta, again, emergency vehicles factor that in, but you can't do the wider. So you're seeing like in Eureka, everyone has different feelings about that. That's the intentional with those bulb outs is one, it's a shorter distance for pedestrians across the street, and you have to slow down. You can't cut the corner to make a turn, but you do have to allow for, and it depends what kind of vehicle traffic that road is.
Right. So how expensive is a bulb out?
Bulb outs, well, it's flat work, it's concrete, so it depends if you have a sidewalk and ADA or not. If we do kind of those bulb outs in the street with a planter, that could be relatively cheap. I mean, if we just do concrete, especially where there's really no asphalt, we could do a concrete bulb out, and that's fairly inexpensive of a curb, and then we could plant a street tree or something like that, so it's a beautification. So again, these are just concepts. Anything we want to do as a city, you still have to do the outreach with that street.
Right.
If you're really like I Street, like I said, it's really wide, so there's different concepts to potentially think about.
Right, and I think we as commissioners, one of our roles is to recommend to city council what changes should happen. So I think we want to know what the consequences are.
Right,
of the
there's a
city-
cost.
The city's budget, because that's the big consequence right now. And then I guess there's a cost to staff workload and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, so the city does see, we don't get a whole lot from our tax. Was it like 70,000, 75,000 from the gas tax we get? And that's part of that 10-year, and I think we're in year 3 or 4 now, that we see. They had a 10-year gas tax increase for local road improvements. So we went from 35,000, I'm talking round numbers because I didn't get the
Right.
budget, I just knew approximately what the city gets from the gas tax.
That's
So we
annually.
got a bump, yeah, to like, so a lot of that right now is painting and maintenance, filling potholes, it's usually what that funds.
So we have roughly 70,000 a year.
Approximately.
Very roughly.
Yeah, so that could be saving, or how do you budget for that and save some of that money to do maybe some of these, $10,000 to $20,000 implementation. I think the traffic dot, I don't recall off the top of my head, we did look at that because we were looking at potentially doing, maybe it was 25K, because we redirected those funds to fix the bridge. We were gonna do that by the wooden pedestrian bridge,
Right.
but we reallocated the funds to address the ped bridge because it needed repair.
So can the city hold funds from year to year? Or
Yeah,
they
potentially,
have to
actually
be-
that, like 25, 30 grand, that was actually through HCOG. So you can, get some of the smaller requests from HCOG if you have, for these smaller grant amounts potentially too.
So if
Yeah, I
you-
was wondering about that, because the
Yeah.
Humboldt County Association of Governments often has a rotating fund
Yeah.
that comes up, and if cities apply, it doesn't mean that you'll get it that year, but you'll
Right.
start being on a list, and then as things get funded, you start moving up the
Right, so
list.
that's, I think, how we paid for a flashing beacon. That was by the, needed repair, it was by the school.
Oh, right, before we did the
Yeah.
bump outs, yeah.
So if the city could conceivably not spend their 75,000 in 1 year, hold it, and then
Or,
they could
do some of the maintenance, but
they
start
could do
putting some
150
aside.
the next year?
Yeah,
Okay, it's not like a use it or lose it kind of a thing, like some
I don't
grant
believe
stuff.
so.
Okay,
Again, I'm not the person to ask about the financing.
right.
Are you familiar with something that just went on in McKinleyville? It's McKinleyville Avenue and Hiller Road. There's a very wide intersection there. It's by their Catholic church, ironically, over there, Sacred Heart, I think it's called.
Oh.
But anyway, what they did, instead of doing an actual roundabout, is they did like a mural of a roundabout.
Yeah.
I was reading about it, and I mean, I don't know, there's no data as to how it's.
No, that
gonna help,
actually
but-
helps. We'll do paint, and so if everyone calls it the bicycle wheel in Arcata that's by Hensel's, the area just burned down. That's not really a roundabout.
Yeah,
You could drive
it's over
it.
there,
Yeah, it's
kind of by the Ace.
Yeah, it's between the Ace and Los Bagels.
Yes.
That
Right,
intersection.
yeah.
That's what they did there. So you
Yeah.
got more like an art, something, again, it visually distracts the driver. So again, this goes back to how do you break up just straight asphalt, line of sight? So there's a couple different things you can do.
Okay. What did you call it, a bike?
I know, everyone just calls it the
Bike-
wheel.
bike
'Cause it
wheel,
looks like
wagon wheel.
spokes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Wagon
I don't
wheel.
think the one in
And it's not the
McKinneyville
official
looks
term.
like that.
It's just-
Right.
What's that?
The one in McKinleyville, I think, is more of almost an art project. I think.
Yeah.
It's almost like a
You
mural
can-
from
you
what I
can
could see.
Do that too in the intersection.
Okay. All right.
And I
Any
think even
other
Arcata
questions?
did originally, they put those planters, like what on 8th Street, they just took a concrete culvert and put trees in them. Remember they did that and kind of closed off the lane. That was down by where what burned down the bookstore.
I know exactly what you're talking about, yep.
Well, thank you. It's very informative. Any other questions?
Oh, and I just had the
Oh,
other
yeah.
thing I had was just kind of looking at, it is pretty dense on I Street in terms of the houses, and you have, like ideally mid-block or where you would put a speed table, and because you have all these alleyways and driveways. I mean, I was kind of looking at it today on where would you put one. And it's, I don't know, you can't put them there. Anyway, it just, there's a lot of things to consider before you put one in. So I just for your guys' reference, I gave you that.
So we're looking at A Street right now. I think
Okay.
I Street folks, we're going to talk about the survey
Yeah.
tonight, so we'll
Yeah.
know what they prefer, but they seem to be, people who were here talking about doing less.
Yeah.
Because they felt like it wasn't as big a problem as before.
Yeah, and it's, in that map shows it, it's not. You know,
Right.
But it is, people can't speed. It is the widest street we have in town.
Right, so now, we're considering now the A Street as well.
Okay.
And they wanted 6 in that area. That was a proposal from citizens.
They wanted what?
6 speed tables.
No, I think, yeah. And I think they say the distance, 350, oh, it's actually what I have somewhere down.
You
350
shouldn't
to
be that
500
close
feet,
together
you know,
either,
and
yeah.
even that's a lot of density of speed tables.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't really go, and so 6, you're not gonna, a block's about 300 feet, so anyway.
Yeah.
It's interesting, from this view, I Street doesn't look much bigger than J.
It's a lot wider, well, because of the gravel and all that, but
Oh.
actually, you know, because we have those gravel shoulders.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Jay's pretty wide too, actually, it has
Yeah.
pretty wide. Just I Street gets a lot more travel just because of the connectivity.
Right, can make it all the way out to
J
Blueberry.
Street, you still have to make a couple other,
But it narrows drastically,
Yeah.
like Boulevard.
yeah.
Does the
I
ci-
Street does.
Yeah.
Does the city have an annual plan for traffic improvements? So, for instance, if there something big coming up that,
The only thing that we have big, and again, we're looking for funding, that's the truck route. So we do have, you know, we got an approved set of plans, those are final, so we're requesting funding to implement. Actually, I wanted to deal with the intersection by, where it does the little S turn. 'Cause
By the
that's probably
museum?
our work.
No.
Yeah, by Kent's property and where you do the S turn to get onto Hatchery from
Oh,
through there, so that intersection, that, we got a failed culvert, that's why the sidewalk's slumping, so there's some things that need to happen there. So we just put in for that, so I don't know where that, we're still waiting to get approval of that funding. So it'd be a portion of the truck route. So we're just chipping away, it's, you know, slowly improving our truck route.
so the annual allocation would be used.
It's not even, no, this is separate funding, this is STIP
Ah.
funding, State Transportation Improvement Plan funding. So I think,
Okay.
off the top of my head, originally I was trying to do all the way to the bridge, and there just wasn't, actually HCOG's really good, you know, everyone, like, we had over-programmed what was available, so everyone kind of scaled back their projects, so I cut our project down a bit to the part that probably needed the most attention.
now, this November heat map, is this basically an overlay of the colored map? This other one that you handed us out?
Where did this,
Oh. You handed it out to us.
That's November incident.
yeah,
No,
number
it's
of
gotta be-
incidents, yeah, that's
Oh.
in the report.
Oh, okay.
That's the heat map, the numbers, that's what the numbers represent on that
Oh,
colored
okay.
one, is how many reportable accidents, and then it's just reflected with color intensity.
Oh, okay.
Make it
That's
available
for something
for
different.
people like me whose eyes aren't as great as what they used to be.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. Any other questions from commissioners or comments?
Nope.
Anyone from public would like to ask any questions of our city engineer?
I'm curious about, painting crosswalks and things like that. I don't think there's any painted crosswalks
We can, again, anything visual paint, and paint is inexpensive, even painting fog lines, or, help neck that down. The challenges with crosswalks is when you want to go, okay, where are you encouraging people to cross, and if there's ADA and I Street. We did make improvements on one side, but not the other, so it's like, where do we want to put a crosswalk to encourage? On Second, I think, is where that was part of the safe routes to school, so we could paint there, because that's where we do want people to cross, as they're walking to school, take the Ped Bridge over, so that's a potential.
Also, what about the law that says you have to paint the corners, red? You're not supposed to be part
Oh,
of
that's new, yeah, we have to have the setback of the corners painted red, that's fairly new. And I forget the actual distance, but it's basically like a parking space.
20 feet,
It's 20
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah,
yeah.
and that, again, that's a sight distance, so you kind of pull out, you don't have a car obstructing visibility for pedestrians and even for people pulling in the intersection.
And if you don't
And that's
have a
at the outskirts,
sidewalk,
right? Some of these
there's
streets
no
are
place to
first
paint it.
on the intersections.
The thing I worry about with crosswalks is they give children especially a false sense of security. Oh, it's a crosswalk, no car will hurt me, they've learned that more or less. But in effect, it doesn't necessarily mean that, or drivers don't think that way anyway.
So we did do some, like I said, there are some ADA improvements that were on I Street, and it's mostly on the south side of I Street.
Yeah.
Are there requirements for paint, adding new paint, like a slow sign or a crosswalk, in terms of deciding as the city how and where and all that?
We did, we have the slope for the school, we have that painted, right, there's that. I have to go off the top of my head, I have to look at the MUTCD, that gives all the guidance in terms of street markings.
So there might be some, whatever's in there is what you guys
Yeah,
do,
it's a big document, so I don't have it all memorized.
right?
Okay, any other questions or comments from audience? All right, appreciate all the input. Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Okay, thanks a lot,
Appreciate it.
have a good evening.
Thanks,
You
Mike.
too. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome, Jenny.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sure. Cool.
All right, so we did our report from our city engineer. We have some information now that will help us to make some other decisions. They'll move on then to agency check-in, Blue Lake Fire. I don't see anyone from the fire department this time. Red Cross, the sheriff, we have the sheriff. Report, yeah, that came out. And the Rancheria.
So we should talk about the sheriff's report.
Okay, let's do.
Yeah, there. My main question is, and I was hoping someone would be here tonight because I wanted to understand the terms better, like what is CAD documentation only? Because I'm seeing that a lot in particular places, and we mentioned this last time, I think, wanting some kind of a translation for this document, right?
We did.
And I don't know what
Yeah,
our
they're still
conclusion
using
was as to how we were going to get that information.
Uh-huh,
I think
yeah.
maybe we were going to ask the sheriff's representative if they were here tonight.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we can ask them to come to our next meeting specifically to talk about that.
Uh-huh. So
If
abbreviations.
others would like to do that.
Well, Ted, you knew what some of these meant, I know, but there is quite a few of them. You're talking about what's under type?
Disposition, type.
Yeah, disposition, right?
The
Well, now
the
he-
disposition is pretty clear.
Right,
but
the
except-
disposition, they've got no report.
Except for the CAD.
The
documentation.
CAD is the thing that we don't know what that means. Okay.
And then the type would be the other kind of codes, I think, that are here that we don't understand as well.
And we had also asked them to make a distinction between what was in town and what was out of town. I mean, most of us are aware of our boundaries, but,
We don't get that figure, though.
I think that, yeah, and well, the
Dots.
dots that are next to the item.
oh,
the
there they
date,
are, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Those
are
are
the
ones
that are
that are
actually
within
within the city boundaries.
right.
Okay.
It looks like that wasn't done for the December, but it was done for the
Yeah,
November report.
right, yeah, it wasn't done for one of them, I see that, yeah. Okay, so we want that delineated always. Okay, we can request for a representative.
It was very nice because we said last time, we did like both formats for the report. There's a, I don't know what they call this report, but there's a report that they give us that has dots and shows us where the
Incident
calls
map.
are.
Yeah, the incident map is good,
Yeah, so
and
we
it's
asked for both.
color-coded in the,
Yeah, so I think it really helps to have both of these things, because I'm noticing similar addresses for a lot of the calls. It kind of helps to know that.
yeah.
I didn't know that Tony does email the agenda to representatives from all of these groups, from the Red Cross, the Rancheria, the Sheriff's Department, and the Fire Department. So they do know about the meetings
Right.
and what's on the agenda.
Okay,
But maybe I can ask her to specifically ask if they can come to the next meeting, because they missed the last two meetings now.
the sheriff, or, yeah, okay. Okay, I've got that
What,
highlighted there.
what the sheriff's report does to me is, and I'm ignorant on certain factors on the flip side of it, but just on the first two pages here, or the first page, the city has 10 items listed in the city. The Casino Way, and it doesn't say the whole Rancheria, but just on Casino Way, there were 9. So that's basically equal police that coming attendance to it. I do not know if the casino pays for that service. I know they have their own law enforcement. If not, and the county around us, I don't think contributes to that either. And I fail to see, I find it unfair to Blue Lake, the Blue Lake taxpayers, that we pay not only in our taxes that the county gets some of our property taxes, but then we also have the city council donating a lump sum, which I now think is $170,000, $90,000 a year. I don't know how to rectify that, but I don't want to impact public safety. But to me, having us to pay for our share of the sheriff's duties out here and not our neighbors is unfair, just blatantly unfair. Now, government is often unfair, but that's one way, that's what this, and I've been watching it with every set of reports we get. The averages stay pretty equal.
Do we know, again, I was late to this commission, I came in the middle of the year last year. Have you seen a copy of the contract? Do you know what we're paying for? Because are we paying for this,
I
or is
did
the county at
see
large?
something a while back where it was 170 or 190
Is that for-
thousand.
Is that for hours of service, for number of calls? How are they?
It's blanket.
That's our
The
total
the
contract is
not-
190.
There's no à la carte, there is no per call. The contract is mostly covered by a state grant, a state law enforcement grant.
That's true, that's true.
That comes to the county, and then the county distributes portions of it to the different municipalities or the different jurisdictions.
So that's not coming from the council then?
No,
That's coming
no,
from
that's
the
coming
state,
from the
directly to the
state.
state.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's coming from
okay.
the state.
Okay, so,
What is the
so
agreement for level of
my
service?
opinion there is wrong.
The agreement for level of service is whatever's in the contract, patrols, jail, arrest,
So unlimited.
unlimited, yes, it's unlimited.
So we used to have an officer assigned to Blue Lake, and we no longer do, so they're coming out of McKinleyville, correct?
Well, they're just the patrol deputy that's in this area. The region that also includes, the rancheria, the county area outside of the city limit.
That's part of his patrol.
And it's part of his
So-
patrol.
Right.
So, and I feel that's probably why you're seeing a lot of these that's not in the
Yeah,
city.
they don't break it out.
They don't break it up. This is all that went on that day on his report.
Yeah, it's
So-
kind of a misapprehension of what the contract provides, because we're seeing, a snapshot of stuff that's well out of our jurisdiction. And I imagine that's showing up in the Eureka, and somewhat in the Eureka Police Department reports in some of the outer areas where,
Outside of city limits.
outside of the city limits.
What is your impression, Elise, of what the city pays for? I mean, could it be interpreted that the city is paying for calls on Casino Way or Glendale or areas out of the city?
It's not.
The city's not paying for anything other than services within city limits. We are being charged because we are a municipality, we're an incorporated city. The sheriff is providing service to all of the county, all unincorporated areas, okay? They don't provide service within the city of Eureka or the city of Arcata, et cetera. So all unincorporated services are getting a particular level of service, and that is exactly the same as the level of service that we get within the city. But because we are an incorporated city and we are getting funding to pay for law enforcement, and it's our responsibility to provide law enforcement within the city, therefore we are being billed for the law enforcement within the city.
And that's covered by the state grant then?
In the case of the amount of the money that we're getting and the amount of our contract obligation, we are actually getting more money from the state than we are spending with the sheriff's department this year.
As far as the service from the police department, I'm very happy with it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Pardon?
I didn't hear what you said just then.
I'm very happy with the service from the police department,
Sheriff, you mean?
the sheriff's department.
Yeah. When we contracted with the sheriff in the summer of 2024, when they first came up with a $320,000 bill, and we had an ad hoc committee meeting with the sheriff representatives, we pointed out the fact that a lot of what they're citing Blue Lake crimes were not in fact in Blue Lake. And not just the casino, I'm talking about all around, Maple Creek area, on the other side of the river. That was one of the things we pointed out. Actually, I think that helped our case in a way to get our contract down to $190,000. That was one of the cases we made because, as Alex pointed out, the taxpayers are paying for our incorporated city, not the outlying areas. But there is
Well,
a
that's the problem
responsibility.
when you conflate a report that shows a patrol area, which happens to include Blue Lake, as we're paying for that.
Right.
We're not.
That's not true. Okay.
That's not true at all.
Okay.
And that's been the problem, the confusion with people trying to make that an issue, is that it's not an issue. It's a non-issue. You're just misinterpreting the data. Well, how come we're seeing stuff in the casino? And it's because that's part of the whole overall patrol area, that officer, that deputy patrols.
The casino may be different.
I would
county
imagine,
around
yeah,
us.
they have their own jurisdiction, but they don't have a jail, they don't have holding. And so anything that's gonna go on there above a certain level, they probably contract with the sheriff's
Okay.
department as well.
Yeah,
I would
I would
imagine
think
that
so.
they do.
Yeah.
Because
For those
they're
services.
federal,
Yeah.
they're a federal jurisdiction.
Right.
But they don't have any facility or the personnel to actually conduct law enforcement beyond their small, the small force that they have there at the casino, a few officers.
So have we heard any issues people have had with the level of police services in Blue Lake recently?
Not recently. In the past, there have been a lot of complaints, yeah. And it was concerning that even though they had given us this $320,000 bill, that there was going to be no difference in their level of coverage, so that was also brought up. But no, recently, I don't think so. I haven't heard any, but,
No, I see.
I see them all the time.
I see them all the time. in town.
Yeah, and they're driving up and down all the streets. I mean,
Yeah.
they come all the way down to Charlton and go up the one way and back on in and around, and so I see them all the time when I'm out.
We had a car, the old pickup truck, ripped off on a Sunday morning. And they found it Tuesday afternoon.
Wow.
And I had it back Wednesday, and it was trashed. I mean, the guy, to get it started, really messed with the ignition and all of that. So, but the sheriff's department was on top of it right away. and it was
Yeah,
great.
it's good. Sunday.
It was
So
very good.
complaints would go to the city manager, I believe, correct?
Yeah, go
And
to
then-
city staff.
Yeah, we'd become aware of them. Okay. Okay, like you said, in the past, when I was on the commission before, there were complaints. So it's good to know that it's working right now for the citizens, because that's one of our jobs.
All right, so highlight especially having a representative from the sheriff's department. And we did have that gentleman come a couple of meetings ago, who was very good. So
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be happy to come.
Yep.
All right, if there's nothing more on item 6, we'll move on to 7, Safe New Year's Eve update discussion. I heard the Presbyterian bells going off. I certainly was ringing the Catholic Church bells at 9 o'clock, although somebody asked me when I was looking at this at the bulletin board, why don't you ring them at midnight?
Reasonable request.
Well,
If we're saying go.
we're saying it's a New
Nobody young
Year's
enough.
Eve thing,
Get me up
you
at
know,
midnight.
but, there you go. It's midnight somewhere at 9 o'clock, that's right.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet. I mean,
Yeah,
I only heard a couple of fireworks go off.
I heard some fireworks, and I understand that there were some really big fireworks that went off at,
Yes,
speaking of the
there were.
casino, there were actual large,
Yeah,
chrysanthemums, whatever you call them.
I heard some from down there, and I didn't, to me, they sound like an individual loud firecracker. Okay, it didn't sound like fireworks where you get a series of snaps and bangs, fireworks or
I
anything like
heard
that.
both at my house.
Did you?
And they were it's on the river,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, like, kind of that direction, and then some.
Well, I heard the first one sometime, it was dark, so after 5 o'clock or so, but it was like 6:30. And they were sporadic. I think I heard 9 all evening around our house. And it moved from down here to up on somewhere up there near the school, and then over near your house. It sounded like something
Yeah, I
close to you.
think I know who did that.
And it was all the
Not me.
same type of firecracker, one loud bang with the same tone, which made me think it was one individual doing in-your-face type of thing. You know, you put out this information, and I'm going to not pay attention to it, and letting us know that. Other than that, it was quiet, but it wasn't as quiet as July 4th.
Yeah,
And I think that's because the distribution wasn't as heavy. The saturation of the town wasn't heavy. I do think the pods did good work and really helped. The sign, Ted, your sign's great.
it should have gone up a little sooner. I was disappointed that it didn't go up immediately
Well,
after the Winter Wonderland sign.
It went up really quickly after the museum sign came down.
No,
No, it went up,
because I came,
it went up after Christmas.
yeah,
is my
I came back
understanding.
from my vacation.
It went up like the 29th, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
I had to
Monday,
tell,
like the 29th or
I
something
had to
like that.
tell
A
city
couple
staff
days
about it.
before.
Well,
Yeah.
before Christmas, you had the museum or.
Well, it was the Winter Wonderland
Yeah, yeah.
that happened on the 20th, Saturday, the 20th. And the agreement was that as soon as that was over, maybe on Sunday, but on the following Monday, that sign should have gone up. So that meant it should have been up on the 22nd. And
Yeah.
it wasn't up until around the 29th.
Yeah,
So it
we
was a
kind of
good
lost,
week.
we kind of lost track of the.
Yeah, it was a good week that it wasn't up, so that would have been
And the
helpful.
location too, I mean, I never drive by that part of town. The roundabout would have been a better location, or near the sign, the city sign. Everybody goes by there.
Yeah, well, then you're going to have to get the approval of the superintendent of schools, because that corner where the sign does belong to the school. So you'd have to get her permission. And then the roundabout is county, but it's being maintained by the Rancherita.
I think I meant the place near the.
Yeah,
city sign.
you meant there.
Would that be difficult to get, do you think?
Well, I've had mixed results with that. I mean, I've gone to the superintendent about different things, and it just depends on what is happening. She doesn't like a lot of signs on that corner. So anyway, and I did mention to the museum that we were going to put this sign up, and their remark was, thanks for asking. Most people haven't been. That is museum property there. So there's a board of directors of the museum, and permission really needs to be had.
And a little bit more exposure, I think, would have been more effective. It was effective with the 4th of July sign, because the 4th of July sign was in the same spot. And so,
Yeah, it was. It was up longer.
yeah, it was up longer.
And we had more children in the summer recreation program, so more chance maybe to get these out. I don't know. Any other comments from commissioners about our New Year's Eve? I mean, I think we need to continue this. I don't think that we need to say, well, we tried that and it didn't work. I think it
No,
worked to
just,
an
they
extent.
keep doing it. 4th of July coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4th of July and New Year's Eve. That's not a lot
Another-
to ask.
Another 7 months and we'll do the 4th, and then
Yeah,
Christmas rolls around, we'll get it up and do New Year's again.
yeah, I think so. Is there any further comments before I open up to public? Would the public like to speak on this issue? Thank you for your poem, Marty.
I just wanted to mention that part of the plan for the town square was that there was going to be a city bulletin board there. And I was kind of hoping that we might get an area on the side of the little structure there that houses the porta potty, where we could hang banners there. So maybe in the future, especially if there's a conflict about whether or not this space is available, then we could work on trying to get something up across the street from the post office that would be visible for everybody going to get
That
their
would be
mail.
great, but I would not make it either or, both and.
Well, if you have two banners, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the original plan for the town square with the enclosure of the porta potty was that it was supposed to be two sides, I think was going to be artwork, and then the third side was going to be a bulletin board. Because if you've seen our bulletin board by the post office, it's being heavily used. And it
Yeah.
needs, we need a little more
There's no space on
exposure.
it.
Never, you know, and people put big signs and that kind of thing. So, yeah. All right, if there's no further comment on item number 7, we'll go on to number 8, the Blue Lake Safety Refrigerator Magnets follow-up. And just want to make sure everybody has theirs. They're pretty much what you had before, but
707.
there's, yeah, the 707 has been added so that, especially children, but all of us need to sometimes be reminded that we have to have 707 on the phoning. And so, so we signed a letter of thank you to the Wanikas for $100 and the Grange for $100. That covered the $200. And we have 500 of those, and they're free at City Hall.
Did you present this to the city council?
I did,
Was
yes.
there any comments?
No, there weren't. There was one citizen that questioned whether the commission should be asking for donations from organizations.
And what was there discussion about that, or?
No, there wasn't.
It's a good question. Since we're official, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just did it out of the goodness of my heart. I would have paid for it myself if they hadn't done it. Anyway, that's pretty much the follow-up, so that can drop off of our radar for a while. Any other questions about that? Anything from public on that? Okay, back to commission. We're on setting date for 2026 safety fair discussion, possible action.
Okay, so this past safety fair was the third Saturday in September. The previous safety fair had been the second Saturday in September, and it was quite successful. We found that there was, as we discussed at this meeting, there were fewer people that attended. There was a lot of competition. It was North Country Fair weekend and a lot of other things weekend. So I think Adeline and I said we would prefer to go back to the successful weekend, the second Saturday in September. So I went and talked to Parks and Rec, and they said this, for the first time this past year, was a baseball tournament for Bernal baseball tournament, memorial tournament.
On the 12th?
Yes, both days that
I
weekend.
just put it in there. I thought you were successful.
It needs to be discussed, because
Okay.
there's a lot of possibilities, actually.
Okay.
So I talked again today with Parks and Rec, and I said, could we have the safety fair and the tournament at the same time?
Oh,
And he said, yeah, maybe it might increase attendance both ways, and they would be using the field, of course, so we would have to have touch-a-truck off the field, but we kind of decided we wanted to do that anyway, because with the rains, we had that last-minute shuffle we had to have because we couldn't use the field at the last minute.
Right.
So the street actually worked better. The problem with the street was over on here, on Railroad, it was too far from the safety fair, so we decided we wanted to go onto Charlton perhaps if we could do that next year, so it would be more compact. Because Parks and Rec said if the touch-a-truck was on Railroad, that would impact the parking for the tournament. So I said, well, maybe it wouldn't be, we could bring it over here. And he said, oh, that sounds good. He hadn't talked to Emily, but
who's he?
Austin, I'm sorry. I talked with Austin at Parks and Rec.
Okay.
So we had that possibility. But we
okay.
also discussed the possibility of if we're still allowed to work with the Resource Center, because their funding situation had changed, so we're not really sure what's going to happen this next year. But there was a possibility of doing it in the parking lot here too. So there are other possibilities. But we're in discussion with Parks and Rec for that second weekend. And I think we might, as long as Emily agrees, it's a possibility of moving it to that weekend, should we decide to go forward with it as we did this last year. So,
Well, we definitely don't want it on the third weekend because of the confliction with the North Country Fair. So it's good that we're opened with the second. I mean, it could happen on a Sunday, the 13th. I don't know if that's a problem.
that's also a tournament.
That's the tournament's all weekend, right?
Days, yeah.
Yeah. And then the weekend before that is Labor Day weekend, which is not good.
Yeah.
And
I would
then-
say just go forward and get with Emily and just see if it's possible to do that. Just go ahead.
The same day
Yeah,
as
just
the
go ahead and do
tournament?
it as the tournament, same day as the tournament. It could even be on the Sunday of the tournament. That way it's not impacting the first day of the tournament,
Right.
because that will be probably the most games played. And they'll have fewer teams and fewer people there on Sunday for the wrap-up of the tournament.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of a combination now with the Resource Center, so we have health outreach as well. So I don't know if there was a problem with people coming and manning the tables on a Sunday versus a Saturday. So there'll be some discussions we're going to need to have with Molly at the Resource Center.
well, she didn't really have anybody from the Resource Center that
No,
helped
the
that
table-
day.
The tables, like the agency people,
Oh, agency people, yeah, that might be a problem.
yeah.
Oh, I
but we
see.
don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's also an option to consider though. That's a good idea.
If it is the parking lot, then that would be a problem with parking for the tournament, possibly.
Right, they'd have a little bit less parking, but not a lot. They can go to the other side of the field too.
And then also the touch-a-truck people could be in the parking lot instead of being on the other side,
Yeah.
the playground.
Yeah, we hadn't fully discussed that, but anyway,
All right.
it kind of depends on how big the safety fair is. But anyway, I'll proceed talking with them, with Parks and Rec, and try and work it out to be at the same time, the same day as the tournament, and work with them.
Okay. Any other feelings on this, one way or the other? Well, I guess we'll move forward on the 12th
Okay, I will talk to Emily.
and see if that will work together with a tournament, baseball tournament going on.
Okay, we have time to work it out.
Yeah,
We
we
start
have
early.
time. How true. All right, any further discussion on item 9? Anything from public on item 9?
A lot of people leave town.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of your agency people are going to be off that weekend.
Yeah.
The people that would show up to man the
Good
booths
point.
and to do all that sort of thing.
Okay, coming back to the commission, we're going to move on to 10 I Street Neighborhood Survey Report, discussion and possible action. Just to let people know that it was, I think, in November that we walked around with our surveys. Myself, John Sawatsky, Therese Sawatsky, Ted Hales, I think it was just the four of us. It was a nice day in November, and we covered a good section of town, and they started to come in. Did Tony give you the last two that had just arrived in the last couple of days?
No, I haven't received anything new.
Okay.
I wasn't notified of anything new.
Okay.
So we distributed 100 of these surveys, which ranked a number of solutions or possible solutions that, 9 of them, with the instructions for the neighbors of I Street to mark their preferences, 1 being the best, 9 being the worst, of what they would like to see, they might like to see to help control traffic on I Street and in that neighborhood. So we got 20 responses back. And so I consolidated the responses and put them in order of preference and then made these documents. There were also comments on the forms, and I took those comments and I reproduced them. They're on the second page of that.
Thank you.
And then you'll see, ran out of staples, so we got paper clips. And on the first page, you'll see the order of preference at the top center. You'll see the solutions or the ideas were on the left. And then you'll see the amounts. The amounts below the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the number of surveys, the number of where they marked it. So stop signs at 3rd or 5th Street, you have 5 people, that was their preferred, that was their number 1. Number 2 is 1, 3, there's 3 of them. So that gives you an idea of how many actual, of the 20 that I received, of people that's what they preferred. And then what I did at the bottom of that chart, I essentially just took most favored based on the top 4, essentially order preference 1 through 4, and I added those numbers up and then gave a total. And so you see what actually comes out on top. Speed limit signs are the top vote getter for the top 4 categories. Speed tables was second with 12. Stop signs, 10 people wanted stop signs. Radar speed signs came out at 8. Increased sheriff patrol was 8. Roundabouts were 7. If you go to the top 5, it changes the order a little bit. It actually puts lighted crosswalks into the mix. But I just listed the top 6 just for interest. And then you'll see the comments. Some of the comments are good. And some folks didn't fill out all of it. They just did their 1, 2, or 3, and then they left the rest blank, where they marked 1 and 2, and then they made the rest 9s. Because they hated all the rest of them.
I was adding up the top numbers, for instance, and it comes to 25.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
And I'm thinking, you
yeah,
said there was only 20 back, so how did I get 25 responses?
Yes. I didn't want to.
Some people were not following the rules.
Well, we didn't say they couldn't mark everything. They couldn't hate everything. So if they wanted to, and so I didn't want to exclude it,
Okay.
and so I just included it in the totals. And so, well, there's what we have from the 20% of what we got back distributed as
You
far
did a
as.
great job with this. 20 is good, I think.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I think Jill mentioned that we might get, 20% or so if we're lucky. And so she was right. We got about 20%.
And people most impacted, because people not on that street would be less impacted and maybe less.
Yeah, and there's some returns from people who are not, they're not right on I Street, they're off on H, or they're on, they're on a separate street, but they had an opinion about it.
Well, they'll end up driving it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, looks like one of the cheapest solutions seems to be popular, which is a good thing. The speed limit sign.
Well, yeah, and I think that's, best bang for your buck. Initial start is, let's get some speed limit signs, and I would recommend that. Speed limit signs. Speed tables, that's definitely a significant budget item. If you're gonna put, a couple of speed tables, that's 20 grand, to
Right.
put that up.
We have other problems in town, a lot of potholes. It could be
Well,
filled.
exactly.
There's already a speed bump next to Third with the tree roots pushing the pavement.
Yes, this is
It's a
very true,
natural-
yeah.
It's a
Yeah, and that was
natural
another,
speed bump.
somebody else mentioned, hey, why don't you do something about that? It's been
Well,
talking
somebody
about that
didn't
for
like it,
years.
and I think somebody did like it.
Yeah,
Because they said
Do
it's pretty
something
much a
about it.
natural one.
Yeah.
So your comments were pretty much verbatim, you just.
I just typed them
what they
all
were.
out, yeah,
Thank
they're
you.
completely verbatim.
That's great.
And there's even one guy on I didn't plan it that way, but the last one that I looked at is, you people are just complaining. So there's definitely dissent. Dissent, and
As
dissent has
always.
definitely been voiced and duly noted in this,
We welcome all feedback.
yes.
Yeah, good and bad. So stop signs at Third and/or Fifth Street. Now we
Yeah,
have handy
and
little
well, and
maps we
there
can
was
look at.
actually, there was actually a recommendation of putting them at Second and Fourth due to possible, traffic impact for people coming off of Blue Lake
I know,
Boulevard,
that's
going
what
to
I would
Fifth,
think.
Going to
Yeah.
Fifth, and so, and I
Because-
thought that was reasonable, but then you're gonna have to do the traffic survey and spend all the money to justify putting in the stop sign. 'Cause
Oh,
you
yeah,
have to
stop
do, yeah,
signs
you
you
have,
do,
yeah, you have to
yeah.
do, you have to
Yeah.
do a, you have to do,
study.
yeah, you have to do a traffic study and all of that.
And
That's why
document the
this-
problems.
Exactly, and there's no problem there, so.
Yeah.
So that's why the speed.
Chances of
limit
getting a
signs-
warrant. I mean, you could go outlaw like past, the past have done. There's stop signs in town that don't have warrants. They were just put in without any traffic studies, and I don't know, that's not the business of us right now, but I'm just saying, it has been done, so.
They were grandfathered in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of the signs we had in town were yield signs years ago. And when I was on the council, we decided that people really don't know what yield means. It has no meaning to people, yield.
Mm-hmm.
So we switched our yield signs to stop signs. So maybe that's where that
That's probably where that
happened.
is, yep.
Uh-huh.
They
Yeah,
just
Mike-
did it because no one brought up the law.
So Mike seemed to say that he has a manual, and it'll tell us where speed limit signs can go on I Street.
Yep,
So our job was to make a recommendation to council, correct?
I think so.
Um,
Based on our survey,
Mm-hmm.
which we can, certainly include in the council
Yeah.
packet.
yeah, I would recommend putting in speed limit signs and recommend speed tables based on funding, based
Yeah,
on
they're
funding
the cheapest.
availability. Based on funding availability.
Yeah.
Or we might recommend speed limit signs to begin with, and if the problem continues, then we step it up.
Right,
There's no reason to have to move right now on that.
right.
If this solves it. And I think one citizen who was most actively observing what was happening was suggesting that that might do the trick.
Right.
I think it was Buster was saying. So, so yeah, the council, I would think, would want to see the survey and maybe a recommendation. So would that be a presentation to
Yeah,
council?
yeah, I can brief it to the council and let them know.
Yeah, I might
Reproduce
attend
this.
the next meeting too, so.
Do we need a written recommendation to council or just a presentation?
Well, I think what we will do here is discussion and possible action. I think our action should be in the form of a motion that we recommend to the city council that they look at our survey done by the Public Safety Commission and noting that speed limit sign seems to be the least expensive and most popular. We recommend that as a first step and possibly second as a speed table, something like that.
Did you get that, Donald?
Yeah,
I'm not, okay, I can make the motion.
So moved. I make that
Okay.
motion. That we
Okay.
Thank you.
make a presentation to City Council with the results from the survey and a recommendation that speed limit signs be installed on I Street as required by the traffic safety laws, in a manner by the traffic safety laws. That is I've forgotten the name of the manual he was talking about. There's some
Yeah,
manual.
well, they'll know what to do.
Right. And then I move that Ted make the presentation to the City Council.
okay, Ted's making the recommendation?
The presentation to City Council.
Okay, and
the
Ted will
coun-
make the person.
And the council, excuse me, or the commission is making the recommendation.
Okay, is our motion as clear as mud? You want to read it back? No?
Okay, basically, we're going to recommend the speed limit signs first and see how that does.
Period.
Ted's going to go and give the report
On
of the survey
Right. And the recommendation.
and the recommendation.
Correct.
Is from the Public Safety Commission,
Right, from
if we vote for that, which we haven't
Right.
voted yet. So
Right.
that's the motion made by Lynn Glenn. Do we have a
Second.
second? Seconded by Alex Ricca. Is there any comment from public before we move back to commission? Yeah.
Is there going to be a report that goes to council with what you're talking about? And secondarily, are you talking about a January meeting for council?
Yes, we're thinking of the January meeting, January 27th.
A written report? Should there be a written report?
I would suggest that the results of your survey and whatever your recommendation is, it doesn't need to be extensive, but
Yeah, I can forward you this in digits, e-copies. I have PDFs or Word documents, actually. I can make them into PDFs if you like, and send them to you, and then we'll.
The other
Just do
question
that.
would be, is the January agenda pretty full? I mean, because this is not a high priority issue, I don't think. It's something we want to do, but
we're going to do the budget, which is time consuming. There's also quite a few commission vacancies and or renewals, like renewals that we have, so that will take some time. But it sounds like you're
be
talking about
brief.
like a 5-minute sort of thing.
Exactly. It's pretty much what I just did here,
Okay.
with minus the discussion, minus our discussion. And so that took, 5 minutes? So
Okay.
that'd be rather rapid.
So should we add to the motion that we will submit a written report and at the January meeting, City Council?
Are we doing that, a written report?
I'll be doing that.
Okay, Ted will do the written report. Yeah, I've got that down.
And at
That
the
he's going to
January
do the,
meeting.
right.
All right. Is that okay with the seconder?
Sure.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right, we're moving on to potential development of an annual work plan goals for the Public Safety Commission, discussion, possible action. Lynn Glenn had mentioned that in the past, the Public Safety Commission has had some goals that they were trying to attain, and other commissions do this as well. I know the Park and Rec does. So Lynn, did you want to?
Yeah, so
let us know.
I found this because when I was formerly on the Public Safety Commission, I found our 2014 work plan. So it's been a few years.
Okay,
since
12
this
years.
was done. Yeah, just a few. And what we did at that time is we went through all of the documents that established the Public Safety Commission. So we went through the ordinance, and we went through, at the time, I think we had a community survey that we had done asking the public what their priorities were for public safety. And there was also another report that we reviewed. So we went through those reports, pulled out the things that we were supposed to be doing as a Public Safety Commission, and put them into this work plan. So we don't have to do it that way. But that's, I think it refers to the fact that we set some goals, and I don't have that. I gave my notebook to Dennis Pitcomb when he became on the commission, and then he gave it to Jason, he lost it. So this is all I have. But it does say in our reestablishing ordinance what our purpose is. So we could use this ordinance and talk about the things that we'd like to accomplish maybe over this next year, just in very general terms, and then maybe set some specific activities that we want to do, and we've done that last year. We had the safety fair, and we did the survey for the I Street. Things kind of came to us, and maybe we want to stick with that, but we might want to be more intentional. And some of the things that I was looking at our purpose, the purpose is we shall act as a liaison to the community and the council in matters relating to public safety, including traffic and pedestrian safety, emergency preparedness and response activities, and neighborhood safety. The commission will study, report to, and advise the city council upon any matter regarding public safety and the city's efforts to control and reduce criminal activities of all types. That's just generally what we do here. And some specific things might be, we could review the emergency operations plan for the city. That's something that we can be proactive on, because a lot of people haven't looked at it for quite a few years. I had a discussion with Jill a few months ago about that. We could, in the past, I believe there's been some requests of the Public Safety Commission to hold a tabletop exercise in town. And a tabletop would be simulating an emergency of some type, and everybody sitting around who had roles would have roles in an emergency and talk about how that would be accomplished. And it's a very well accepted method of testing your readiness, I think, for different agencies.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
we were
your,
gonna-
yeah, and that would be you would need your emergency operation plan. Would
Correct.
outline who does what, who's
Correct.
involved in that, and then
Correct.
use that in order to build the tabletop
Depending on what
exercise.
we came up with, because the emergency operation plan comes into effect when an emergency is declared officially. So for flooding in town, for instance, that we have not declared an emergency or disaster, but we've had to deal with it. And we've had some things come up that could be refined perhaps or changed, but anyway, the tabletop's pretty flexible, but that's one thing. We could use it to review the emergency operations plan, you're right.
I remember we were going to have that happen,
Right.
and that was right when we were shut down for COVID.
Was it?
That was, 2020. I remember that very specifically because we were working out the details of it on the council level, and then we couldn't do it at all.
We could bring that back.
Yeah.
The safety fair is one of the things
Yeah.
that we could do. We could do a public safety survey, which is what we've done that in the past.
It might be time for one of those.
Yeah.
Do you have a copy of the old public safety survey?
I would have if I had my binder.
Yeah. Well, you have a binder.
No, this is my new binder,
I see.
not my old one.
Okay.
Yeah, we could work with the pods. Our goal could be to increase the level of organization of the citizens, pre-disaster or emergency, so they are better able to respond and work together to recover from the emergency. So to do that, we could work with the pods and try and recruit more pods. So there are a lot of things that we could do.
Right.
If we wanted to. We can prioritize our goals, decide what's most important, and anyway. I don't know if we would want to work as a subcommittee on that, or just as a commission and just pick some things and work on them, or how it should be done. But I just thought I'd bring it up because I saw that the Parks and Recreation Commission was setting goals, and I thought that would be a good idea. Any comments?
What do the other commissioners feel about this?
Well, I think it's a good way, using a exercise of some kind, or perhaps a series of meetings leading up to a tabletop exercise is a good way to provide focus for the pods and also your CERT, so that they can know kind of where they're going to fit in an actual you know, in an actual
Emergency.
large-scale emergency where you want all hands.
Right. Yeah,
As opposed to simple, you know, phone tree exercises or, you know, things like that. I think that'd be very, very valuable.
this is the EOP, by the way. It's very thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It could be a we could do a lot of things with the tabletop and to accomplish a lot of goals, perhaps.
I was thinking we should have, it seems like we should have annual goals, maybe short-term and long-term, you know, goals. I mean, like looking at the thickness of that little baby, that might be a long-term goal, whereas short-term, we want, you know, we might want to start this idea of a tabletop event. And of course, our safety fair is always something ongoing, but, and then this survey, I like that public survey. I wish we had a copy of it. Maybe it can
You
be
can find it.
exhumed from the city offers or something.
Kit has it, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I think, you know, like long-term and short-term would be good in the sense that that scares me a little bit, just the size of that
This is
alone.
This is done by an agency, and they just kind of did
Oh.
boilerplates, I think, for all cities,
Oh.
small cities. But there's
Oh,
some-
you guys didn't do that?
No, this was done by the city. This is the city has
Uh-huh.
in the office, and it
Yeah,
was
it's been a
updated
while.
on October 24th, 2017.
Yeah.
So it was developed by Greg Smith, emergency management planner in Ukiah. So but it states what the roles are, and it uses the incident command system. And, yeah. So should two of us could work on that, or maybe bring it back to the commission? I mean, I'd be happy to work on that with somebody else. Goals and,
Goals and short-term and long-term goals.
or I could just bring some back, because we talked about a few.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't try and do too much, because
Right.
everything takes time and longer than we think.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we doing on the agenda? Are we taking action here, or are we just discussing, or?
It says potential development of an annual workplace goals for the PSC, discussion, possible action. I don't know really what action there would be
Right.
unless at some point you want to present it to the city council for
Future
their,
meetings?
yeah,
Yeah.
their input on it.
Okay. Well, I will work on this. If anybody else wants to call me, they can, and bring something back to the commission next meeting.
Is there any other ideas that commissioners have that we should work on besides the ones we've discussed?
Hearing none?
I'm hearing none. I guess we'll just move forward with that. Sounds like a beginning anyway. All right. Anything from public on this item? All right, back to our commission for item 12, expiring public safety commission terms discussion. There's 3 of us, I think, that are up for being on the
Reappointing?
commission. Huh?
Reappointing?
Yeah, reapplying. We have to
Reapplying.
apply by the 31st, so that means that we have to probably have them in for the next council meeting, the 27th, our applications if we want to reapply.
Has there been official notice of the public by the city that the openings have occurred? I don't go to the post office anymore because David gets the mail, so I'm not sure.
The post office is up to date, and the website is up to date.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Whose positions are ending? Mine, Alex's, and
And mine,
Ed Hale's. Yeah, because we were all appointed, I think, the same night.
yeah.
And so you must be in the middle of a 2-year.
Yes, so Donald and I both we expire next year on 2027. Yeah, what the ordinance says is when a vacancy occurs or is anticipated for whatever reason, the chair of the commission shall so certify to the city council through the city clerk. The city council shall declare such vacancy at its next regular meeting and direct public notice of the vacancy for at least 30 days. Commission members whose terms have expired or who had previously served on the commission and who desire reappointment shall be considered with other nominees. So that's how it's going to be done, I guess. And
So we have to pick up applications at City Hall and get them in probably the week before the meeting or something like that. We
the
wanna
next
continue.
meeting is on the,
It's Tuesday, the 27th, the fourth Tuesday.
okay, plenty of time.
I believe it, our expiring, we received an email that had like a one-page attachment. That's all the application is. Is
Right.
that one page.
Yeah,
Okay.
And if it's possible to notify the 22nd, that would be ideal, so they can be put into the packet that's going to be issued on the 23rd.
The application has 4 questions at the bottom of it. Is that the second page that you're
You can
recommending?
add a page for that if you want. There's no specific format that those have to be submitted in. I mean, I looked through some of them, they're like 1 sentence.
Yes.
So, if
They
you're
can
on
be as-
commission, it might not have to be too extensive.
they can be as brief or as long as you want to. I've also seen people add pages. Number 1, there's their whole, their answer. Number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay, applications to Public Safety Commission. All right. And kind of going along with that, we were supposed to choose a new chair at this meeting, but we really don't have that on our agenda. I
Right.
don't know if,
Leave it to the new council.
Well,
It is
that's
a
true.
council.
New
I-
commission.
yeah, it's supposed to be done in the first meeting of the calendar year according to our bylaws, but, which would be this meeting.
I would suggest, and I'll move, that we delay the appointment of the chair until after the appointments, however they go, are done.
Well, I don't think you can actually make a motion at this point because we don't, it's not even an agenda item.
We can't.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, thank you for
So
your
it's not
thought.
happening anyway.
So it's not happening.
But we should note that what it says is, at its first meeting each calendar year, the
Yeah.
commission shall appoint among its members the chair, vice chair, and secretary. So we need to appoint 3 officers, but it doesn't make a lot of sense when members' terms expire that very same month.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Somebody had a glitch when they put this
Yes.
together, you know, I mean,
Yeah, so since it's not agendized, as you say,
we can avoid it.
we can't discuss it because
Or make
the
a
Brown
motion, I
Act
think.
Nice call,
does not
yeah.
allow it.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on then to item 13, report from Public Safety Commission liaison, staff, and Public Safety Commissioner reports. Does the liaison have anything to report from the council?
I have just one thing to report, that as of today, we have a new city manager, Ms. Jenny Short. Ta-da.
Yay.
Well, and I know her as Jenny Heberly from Blue Lake Elementary School when I was PTA president. I remember her there, so, yeah.
Thank you for attending our meeting. It's so nice to,
I also was asked to distribute these forms, if this is an appropriate time to do that on your agenda.
To do what?
which
To
forms,
distribute these forms to you,
which forms are they?
they're the 700 forms.
Oh, right, yeah.
It takes a bit to fill them out, and so we just wanted to get them to you in a timely fashion so that we weren't delinquent in return. Jill literally printed out every page for you. There's really only like 4 or 5 of these that you're gonna have to fill out. Have you done this?
I've done it many times, yeah.
Have the rest of the commissioners done it?
For a long time.
I think I've done it.
Nope, never have.
Some of the rules have changed recently, and that you don't have to disclose your private residence, and some of the things you used to have to list on there, even if you owned it. So there's some instructions that are in red boxes, I would kind of focus on those primarily. I wouldn't get too far into the weeds about trying to figure out, if there's an IRA that has stocks, and then it talks about listing every stock, and
But I always have to fill this out and have for the last, 30 years that I've been on the council, Schedule B, because I own rental property in Blue Lake. So that makes a difference. Yeah, when you own rental property in Schedule B, yeah. Yeah, interest in real property,
But
so
you
that's
said
always the one.
the primary residences are no longer included in that.
Correct, it's included.
Okay. I mean, are no longer,
And thankfully, you guys do not have to go online to fill this out, it's fine if you fill out the
I
copy
know.
and return it to City Hall.
Thank you.
But how soon do I need to get this back to you?
You are a commissioner that's not expiring, right?
Right.
Ideally in February.
Oh, well, I won't be here.
Okay, well,
I'm leaving Sunday for Southern SoCal,
And for those of us.
probably a month and a half.
you have
Okay.
days?
Well, I can mail it to you. I'll have plenty of time down there to fill it out.
And for
Thank
those,
you.
those of us who are reapplying,
I think as soon as you get appointed, just go ahead and fill it out and return it.
thank you.
Okay.
I don't believe so. That's not my understanding, that we're trying to go back and recreate 2025, if we're just gonna move forward with 2026.
Yeah, Jill told me this last year, at the end of last year, which is just a week ago, but that all commissioners should be filling out Form 700s. Commissioners have not been doing that. Council persons always have, not commissioners. So it's one of those little loose ends. Okay, thank you for that. Staff, I guess you're staff, so that's that. And then commissioner reports. Anybody from the commission have any reports to give?
I'll just say briefly that the pods are meeting, pod leadership are meeting this week to talk about recruitment and trying to do some expansion.
Please extend my thanks to the pods
Yes,
for the distribution of the firecracker information.
yes, I'll tell you.
Thank you very much.
And speaking of that, we had an emergency here during Christmas, and was CERT involved in helping with that as well? And I see that we had sandbags and sand available, it's still there for people that needed that.
Yes, we did. We had flooding on our property and in the same, almost the same places as the previous, a year ago, January. That flood,
Right.
It wasn't quite as
Yeah.
high. How about for you? Because you were in,
Well, the street was flooded, and Alan Carlotta next door, the water was coming through their fence and down the street and back over off of Potter Lane, I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was coming down through there from the creek.
yes.
where
So
Marty
it-
and Karen live.
Yeah, where Marty and Karen lives.
Yes, it was noted
Ponds.
when Kit was down there that a little bit of raising of that area might be very helpful, because then maybe the water would not be flowing down Charton. And, it ends up at Charton and Broderick, and it was pretty deep there.
Yeah, the arena was flooded.
Right, the arena was flooded, it was flooded all
Pictures
the
of
way
that.
across to the bridge.
It was flooded all the way up Broderick, and it didn't get as high into Karina's house this time, and the houses up there didn't make it all the way up there. But it was still got pretty high. And also, once again, apparently the culvert failed up on
Oh.
299.
Oh,
And there
that,
was water careening, or just gushing down the hillside, flooding the gas station. And this was particularly frustrating to CERT, because we were told when this happened last time
Right.
that they were going to fix it. And apparently they did not. So I don't know if the city is going to be looking into this, because it seems silly for this to be happening over and over again.
It's a major contributor to the flooding down at Broderick and Charton.
Yes, it is.
A major.
and it's in the county,
Right,
technically, it's not,
correct.
our problem, but then
But
it
it is our
becomes our
problem.
problem because.
Well, it
we're-
floods into us.
Yeah,
Their water
exactly.
comes down into
Yeah.
our town.
I mean,
And the
exactly.
other thing is, I think some of the problem there, that Doug experienced, is because that,
Done.
if you're, okay, on the creek, the right side of the creek, going down there, you gotta raise the side there. And also, not just that side, but as you get down to where it bends, that's the chronic place where it overflows onto the street, okay?
Or it backs up. It'll end up backing up that little channel.
The other thing is, I don't think in front of the culvert, okay, this side of the culvert has been cleared out enough. I think that is stopping some of the backflow going through the culvert and forcing that to join where the berm is low next to the creek, right before it bends. And if you take care of those two, that'll stop that flooding down there at Hatchery and turn off
Yeah.
to the bridge. along
Yeah,
Hatchery.
there was, so is it going to be discussed at the city council, this most recent flood?
Sure, I had the same conversation with Lynn today.
Okay.
You know, what are we gonna do, how are we going to go about influencing Caltrans? Yes, it's the county, but it affects us. And
Right.
so,
Take it all.
I know there's been some discussion about whether some of the contributions to the work that is invested up there and how that was designed. So I would like to see the city reach out and see what we can find out, especially about our Caltrans, because that's so clearly not the city's problem, but it becomes it in the middle of an emergency. I went down during the flooding and had to try to look at where the water was coming in and out of that creek, because I had never really paid that much attention. And what was happening in the river, the amount of debris that was coming out of the river. And so I took pictures and stuff along the way. It's helpful to know there's a culvert there, this problem, because when I was out there, it was completely out of it. You couldn't see the culvert.
You're talking the culvert on Hatchery.
Yeah, you couldn't see it.
Yeah, no, you couldn't see it.
Well, these are the classic Blue Lake drainage problems. No one's responsible for it, except once it's happening, how quick and good the response is, which is major.
Well, I don't think that that's the case. I mean, as an engineer, I look at the problem and it seems to me like some of the difficulty is that you don't have a master drainage plan. And so nobody's gone through and really looked at where does the water come from and where does it go to? And
Yes, we do. We have a master plan.
this from the 70s.
Well, it needs to
The
be,
drainage hasn't
it
changed.
needs to be
does need to
updated
be
perhaps,
updated,
but
yeah.
Yeah,
water
but
moves the way
drainage
water
hasn't
moves.
changed.
Yeah, but the stuff that's growing in your drainages has changed drastically in 50 years, especially when you're talking about some of these creeks. And so I would like to see a little more of a comprehensive look at drainage overall and not just pick and choose little places that we make changes, because it pushes the problem somewhere else. The water doesn't just disappear. And so,
There are three major elements to the flooding in town, sources. One is coming down just, you go up to 299 on the back road, okay? You come out, there's a major spring up there or drainage ditch that comes under the ground, and you can see it as 8-10 years ago during a heavy period of rain, where you have the past the PG&E going outbound with the PG, out of the PG&E station. You pass the house there, you pass up as you're getting up the road, and there's a pipe there that you'll see the top of. That pipe had a hole in the top of it, and you had water spouting out of it 6 inches high. It wasn't raining, it was sunny, but it was a day after heavy rain. So that's what comes down and overflows down here on South Railroad going outbound. And that's what then comes in and makes Blue Lake so big. It gets down, you can see it down around the Shamrock, that whole side. As soon as it breaks past Elise's home there, and it gets free rain there, it starts going that way towards the creek. Next is the creek itself coming down. And during the last heavy rain, it was overflowing, somebody hadn't cleaned up upstream, so it was overflowing and coming across the road up there, Blue Lake Boulevard. And then it's that culvert up on, behind the gas station, that just spews its water out. And it's supposed to come down, come this way, flow along the road, and then cut over to the school. The school has a ditch roadside of it, below Blue Lake Boulevard. There's a drainage ditch
Yeah.
there that's supposed for it. If all of those were designed to hold the maximum capacity that we face, we would do away with the drainage problem. They're all outside of the city, but that's where the problems lie. We can tinker in town and everything, but we were just redirecting the overflow.
But we were told in the flood a year ago, January, the culvert was clogged with rocks. Nothing was going into this new culvert up on 299, and that's why water was cascading down the hill and flooding the gas station, coming across Greenwood and filling the creek, making it worse. And that happened again, we were told.
It was massive, yeah.
Yeah, again, that same culvert. That's a new problem, according to Kit, who's been watching this for 40 years. So I don't know, Glenn
was-
probably knows a lot about it too.
It was a major
We also
contributor.
have an issue down where we are, our part of the creek, where the creek is silting in. And Rebecca said they added 6 more inches with this last flood. It's just like filling up. Karina's been down there and a citizen trying to take out some of the vegetation, and she's got some out, but there's some huge willows down there. So there are multiple issues, and I think a comprehensive drainage plan would be wonderful. Just really to
Well, an
see-
update, since
But-
there is one.
Well, yeah, updating it.
The culvert up behind, or that water coming down behind up above the gas station on Blue Lake Boulevard was a major contributor to the event of 95. Major, everything this side of the city. So it's a long-term problem.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And the one coming down South Railroad is also long-term. And the creek varies to how well it's been cleaned out and dealt with.
Yeah.
And it needs some work along the stretch of Hatchery right now, and those berms should be put up. I mean, if the atmospheric rivers keep coming over us, it's going to get worse.
And the
Wow.
full moon.
Over there on Hatchery, they've gone in with the loader and literally tore the whatever berm up on that property down and brush, pulled it out so it would flood out onto Hatchery and around instead of going down Charton. They did that a couple of times.
Who did that?
Who did that? Yeah, who did that?
Somebody with the city, because it was the backhoe.
Well, did you see the area that was all mowed down in preparation for the next rain event? And
Yeah.
the signs do not enter and stuff?
Yep,
So,
yeah,
Where are those? Along
it's down there
Hatchery.
on Hatchery. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I assumed it was because they knew they were gonna need access back in there to try to deal with the problem, but, I'm gonna go out with Glenn and look at it. I mean, I've never walked down that section of the creek. The part up there at the top near Northfield Terrace, I walked that my entire childhood. But the part down by Powers Creek, when you get to Hatchery, I'm just not as familiar with that area.
Well, the culvert under Kent's building there and under First Avenue are big enough. They've never been breached at that point. I would recommend you get those tree stumps that are still in the creek bed out of there. Because any stoppage there, as long as those roots are they have growth up atop there, anything can snag in there. The biggest problem in 95 was there was a tree growing out of the creek between Kent's building and the house, the other side, upstream. It was upstream of Kent's building there. And a piece of 4x4 plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, came down, stuck in that tree, the branches, not with the water, but against the water. And water was spraying up both out of that in both directions. And that's what caused the flooding down here that was so bad. That and then the runoff from up there, it just overwhelmed. And the kids came in, the skating rink was open the whole time there. I was in the skating rink at that night. And the kids were taking their skates off and getting outside because outside was so much fun for them. I mean, the streets were running with water, they were out, you may have been there with
Yeah,
them.
she was one of the kids.
College at that point, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, after the last problem above the Patriot Station last year, I thought that they had cleared it out.
That's what they said, yeah.
They told us they had cleared it out. It wasn't gonna happen again. That's
It
what
was
they
really
said.
bad. I mean, the amount of water that was coming off that hill was unreal.
Yeah, it
Just
was.
completely filled the road up.
So you think even if they had cleared it out, it would have been a problem?
I need to go up there and look at it, and I'd like to have somebody with Caltrans go up there and walk
Yeah, I
us
was
through
gonna
it.
say, yeah, somebody with the county.
Is it
needs to look at it.
Caltrans' issue?
I think
I
it's a
think
county
Caltrans
issue.
has
Cal-
made it
yeah.
worse with the project they just did up there.
And it's supposed to
Give
be,
me up on
Years ago.
299.
Yes.
the
Yeah,
culvert
it's
was-
water coming off the 299 down, and then it's supposed to divert, but it ain't
And I don't
diverting.
think they did any upgrades to the county's infrastructure to deal with the additional water they brought there off of the highway.
And someone said the culvert was on private property?
No, that whole's all up
Oh, I
to
don't know
private
that.
property.
Oh, it probably is.
Well, it's a big section that's state.
So maybe will it be
For the
discussed
cross-section of that road.
at city council, or how?
Yeah, well, actually, we could discuss it if you wanted at this level, but, I mean, we already have. It sounds
Yeah.
like there's some
I
proaction
mean, I don't know
happening.
what council would do about it. I think a lot of it's a matter of staff having an opportunity to work through what happened and talk to the different agencies and look for cause and effect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
know
maintenance
sometimes
issue.
CERT does after-action reports, and they just, interview people and then say, this happened, this happened, this happened, and then you have written review, you talk to all the people who are actually on the sites and have seen what was going on, and you have a record, and then this is going to be an ongoing problem. I
And
think.
CERT was very involved that day.
Yes.
I mean, they were amazing.
Yeah,
We have a good CERT group.
we're trying to establish our role and then figure out, who's going to be directing us and who's making decisions. So it's a gray area because the disaster hasn't been declared, there's no, EOC and that kind of thing. And so Glenn, as, Public Works Director, kind of is directing them.
Yeah, we
Response.
don't have to declare
You
a
don't.
disaster or an
No.
emergency to have an emergency response plan that's appropriate and correct. So,
Okay.
but my understanding from Jill is that's one of the areas that needs attention.
Well, if
Living
Scotty
down there, I
Harden
agree.
was still with us,
Yeah, that's been a while.
he could tell you exactly how to go about it. Scotty knew this town really well.
And Mike too, probably.
All right, future agenda items, number 14, if we're done with 13. Do you have anything on your radar? Continue talking about the safety fair. We need to-
Setting goals,
Goal setting,
sheriff's report, interpretation.
sheriff report. What was the last thing you said?
Interpretation,
Oh, interpretation, abbreviations.
yes, yeah.
I have a thing about those myself, so I can certainly understand that.
Everything else has been resolved, setting a date,
Yeah.
High Street report. Do we want any more reports on what happened in city council, or is I Street done?
Yeah, we should continue with that, I think. I Street,
Oh, there's A Street. So you were going to bring actually a survey to us.
I decided not to because of the reapplication, that it seems to be in my pocket at this point, driving it through. Don has backed off.
Oh.
And I think a lot of the traffic issues were caused by the Greenwood project, with drivers going other directions and so on.
Oh.
And it generated a lot of interest, and now that we're getting back to.
Normal.
Like normal, right, it's kind of going away, so I just was gonna wait until after the reapplication to get.
Okay, so should we put this on the agenda for February, March?
No, because it's January 30th, that, we'll know that, and, so I think it would probably be
January.
best for the March meeting. If-
January
if I'm on it.
27th.
I mean, it's gonna be whether somebody's willing to railroad it further down the track. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And if I'm not on the commission, that's not possible.
okay.
Okay,
All right, well, we'll see then how that goes.
I think that's all the New Year's Eve poster, no, that's not, that should be on, actually, our goals would be to continue the fireworks campaign.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't have to review that until May or June for the
Right.
July meeting, but we shouldn't.
If we have a list of goals, that we can.
Oh, well, yeah, that
Forget
should be
about
a part of the goal setting. Yeah, that should be
Yes.
part of goal setting, I think, yeah, exactly.
I think there's
All
nothing
right,
else.
you have any other future agenda items? Make sure you get them to me or Tony quickly by at least a week and a half, 10 days before our meeting, So our next meeting is February 2nd at 7 o'clock. All right, we're on,
Jones, can I make one comment?
Oh.
Tony gave her notice this morning.
Oh,
So you probably need to send correspondence to me for now, and then I'll distribute it out and figure out who's gonna try to cover it and who's doing it. Anytime in your next meeting, that she will not be working for the city anymore.
all right. Okay, let's move on then. We need a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, I move to adjourn.
I second.
Motion made by Alex Ricketts, seconded by Ted Hales. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 8:45. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Yes, thanks for the reminder, Justin.
Oh, you think so? There's not a snowball chance in hell they're reappointing me, not after this week. And next week it starts. Yeah. I totally understand. Yeah, yeah. I totally understand. Well, the court case starts Monday, the court case management thing on Monday. Yeah. And I don't know when the starting date will be, but it'll be in weeks, not months. Yeah.
Well, and I'll be gone after Sunday. I'll be gone 6 weeks between my dental work